Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mr. Recon, and we have another video for you guys. Today we're going to be covering the new girl, Vera. She came out 2 weeks ago. I didn't make a video earlier on her because there was a bug on one of her abilities. They weren't working. I reported it to the devs. They fixed it. Now we can make this video. And before we get into the video, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. It's free, and your support is really appreciated. All right, let's get into the video. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Now we are going to go over Vera's abilities, her gears, and her limit breaks, and then after that we'll get into some fights. I'll try to showcase kind of what she's capable of doing. Alright, we're going to start off with the attributes first, so our actives and basics and passive abilities. So our active is going to do 400% of attack damage to one random enemy and diminishes them for 2 rounds, exerts Lullaby on 3 random allies for 2 rounds. So let's remember that Lullaby lasts for 2 rounds on 3 enemies, and the diminish mark 1 random enemy and diminishes them for 2 rounds. So just remember, it's just 1 at a time. Alright, so the diminish is going to do all damage received increases by 30%, and all damage dealt reduced by 50% cannot be stacked. So you can't stack diminishes marks on the same girl over and over again. Even though it only lasts 2 rounds, it will always pick a different girl that is not diminished. Lullaby, when active skill or basic attack damage is received, the girl that has received this status effect deals 300% of attack damage, ignoring armor, back to the enemy and restores own 150% of attack HP. So it will, the Lullaby will look like shields, kind of like the limit break shields, the last ability, but a little bit more prominent, so you can see it a little better. Whenever the girl has it, it has it for 2 rounds. So it's not like Izanami shields where it only works for 2 things and then it's away. This will work consistently for 2 rounds. It's still not as good as far as the healing aspect goes as Izanami shields. They are a lot better than this, but this one also deals damage back. But overall, Izanami shields are better than the Lullaby shields, though. Alright, then we have the passive. Vera's attack increases by 25%, HP increases by 30%, healing received increases by 30%, which is nice whenever you have like healers like Raph or Vivian that heal girls. This will help whenever she receives a heal, boost the heals, which is great. Next we have basic attack changes to 1 random enemy and diminishes the target for 2 rounds. Remember, it diminishes, doesn't stack, so it has to choose another girl that's not diminished. All damage received increases by 30%. All damage is dealt by 50%, as earlier for the diminish mark, how it works. So essentially on the diminish, whatever girl's diminished, she will get an increased amount of damage on top of her, and then whatever damage she's trying to deal out will be reduced by 50%, which is nice. Alrighty, then lastly, we're going to have the last passive. This is probably by far the most important passive, though. This is what makes her viable. The diminish mark being able is great as well. We have some issues with that, which I'll say in a second right after we get done with this. So exchange speed with 1 random enemy who has higher speed for 1 round at the end of the round, and exerts Lullaby on 1 random ally for 2 rounds. This is an end of round trigger. So at the end of round, Lullaby will exchange speed at the end of round 1 with one of the faster girls than her on the enemy team. So it's going to switch. So the other girl on the other team becomes whatever speed Vera is. That's why we're going to have Vera's speed really low. That way it swaps with a higher speed girl, and it makes it to where they get that speed, and your Vera is taking that away so that your girls can go faster. Now at the next round on 2, when it swaps, the other girl's speed should be the same, the one that originally swapped with. She's going to take the speed that she has and swaps it with another girl. So it might not make the second girl swap slower as the first swap, but it's still going to take away a higher speed girl and just flip it that way. As far as the speeds being like setting the speed back to 0, it's not a debuff mark that's on the girls. So the Vivian's ability, or let's say Baptism or Priest's last ability on the pink gear sets, can remove debuff marks. It's not really a debuff mark, so you can't really remove it. It swaps every turn. You can't get rid of it. It's just going to be there. So the speed's just going to be whatever your girl gets swapped to, essentially. As far as the damage goes on the Lullaby shields, we have to take into account that Vera, it's not going to show up on Vera's damage or healing for the end of stats. It's going to appear on the actual girls that the Lullaby shields are on. So just remember that. So it's kind of hard to tell if Vera's working, but she is. You just would have to test her without Vera on the team and keep track of the damage of your girls. Then put Vera on the team and then look, okay, what are they doing now? How are their heals going up and how their damage is going up? That's how you tell how Vera is working. Now, as far as the bug that I stated earlier that Vera had, it was this last ability, which made her not viable. The reason why she's viable is because of this ability, to tell you the truth. Diminish and all the other stuff is great, but this was what makes her actually be able to be usable. being swapping speeds and making the enemy girls go slower. It's very important. As I've stated in previous videos, that speed is like the king of the meta. It'd probably be the king of the meta for a long, long time. Speed is extremely important. The faster you can go in getting your actives off and basic attacks before the enemy team matters. Alrighty, we're going to get into the gears, antiques, and crystals. You want the optimal thing here for the gears is to do a split on class gear sets. Now, as obviously you get into pink gear sets, that's fine as well. But if you're not getting into a pink gear set with the Vera, which you're probably going to want to put on Vivian anyways, not the Vera, just do a split gear set. So it would be, this one would be this right here, and then this one right here would be the boots right here. And then these two would just be angel gear. The reason for that would boost the HP. You can get the HP over 9 million with the Crystal Max and these positioned this way. And if we had a skin that boosts HP, which we don't, but we can get it pushing above 9 million, which is nice. As far as the crystal goes, you want to do just HP. The reason why you don't want to give her extra speed, because you want to give a slower speed to the other girl, because she's going to swap no matter what. The passive is just going to happen. So it's better to just give them a slower speed right off the bat than giving them extra speed because you're doing a speed HP build, if that makes sense. Next up, we're going to have for the antique. I was playing around it for a while, but she was dying kind of fast. She doesn't really sustain ability, even though we were giving her lots of HP. But then we saw this, and I was like, it works for Mio. Why can't it work for Vera? Vera is going to get fast anyways, end of round, so we might as well just build her with a crap load of HP, give her some damage reduction. Doing this, we're giving her damage reduction to keep her stay alive, and we're giving her a lot of extra HP, so we can be, if all this was set up correctly, you can be pushing 9 million. As far as the damage reduction goes, we're at 32% right now. If we had pink gear sets on her, let's say level 3, we'd be pushing almost 40%. And then we can also have, if we had a Chaos Aura, we'd be pushing over 40% on her as far as damage reduction would go, which would be great. Plus of 9 million HP. It'd be kind of hard to get rid of her right away. So 2 or 3 rounds, she'd be doing some, getting shields up and affecting the enemy team as far as speed goes, which can be detrimental in the long run. She ends up dying after 3 or 4 rounds. It's okay. She's done her job. She's boosted, giving you extra the heals on your team, boosting the damage, making the girl slower, so you're always going first, that kind of stuff. So that works out great too. Now, as far as the skin, no skin, we'll say that real quick. No skin fur, unfortunately. Limit breaks. 2 ways you can do limit breaks here. The reason I'm doing it this way is because I have Vivian's on my team when I'm testing her, so I don't need baptism because the Vivian's already removing stuff. Plus, pink gear sets, the last ability on it can remove debuffs as well. So you're better off just doing straight HP build. That way she's really slow, and then she's going to make it to where the other girls on their team are going to be slower because of the swaps. At least the first one's going to be a hell of a lot slower than the rest of them. So I'm just going to increase the heals, and do a healing on the end of round. And then just HP. And of course, the last one for every girl, always on PvP, is going to be the shields. That's the key on that. That's very good. We want those shields. If you're not running Vivian's, you would just go do the crit resistance and then the baptism just to try and keep her alive a little bit longer. Now, there's a little trick to be aware of. If the enemy teams are running Jonas, not many people have Jonas, but if they do, and you're using a Vera. Now, Vera this way is going to be slower than Jonah. The best thing to do is just do a little swap like this. Make her speed a little bit up. And of course, you're going to have a class gear set usually with it as well to make the optimal build. And it's going to be faster than the Jonah just by a little bit. Now, crazy thing might happen. They might be like, well, they're doing a speed Jonah. I don't know why they would be doing that. That's detrimental to the Jonah. It's just going to die quicker. So then at that point, you're not going to be really worried that the fact that you're very slower, because Jonah's going to die really quickly on their team. If, let's say, you both have really good teams. Now, that's only do this if there's a Jonah on the other team. If there's no Jonah, there's no reason to do the speed on it. Just give her the extra HP. Let's just do that way. Because then every other girl is going to be faster, and you want to remove the speed from Jonah. You just don't want to get her low speed. You want to grab somebody at a higher speed because it's a random selection. So just remember that. Okay, now we're going to get into the fights real quick. I just want to remind you guys that we're not looking at Vera herself. As we look at the damage dealt, you're going to see that she doesn't have much HP on her. So you're going to have to realize that the damage being dealt from the girls is going to be lower, and the heals are going to be lower because, I'm sorry, they're going to be higher because of she's boosting it. So I'm going to show a fight without Vera first. And we're going to look at the HP and damage. And then we're going to put Vera in and we're going to show what the HP and damage is. It should be higher. It might not be oodles higher, like extremely higher, but it'll be higher than what you normally would get from the Neffs and the Vivians that I'm about to use and show you. And then we'll throw Vera in there and then we'll go from there. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. Now we're getting into the fight section. So we're just going to pick a couple people. We'll start with Luke. Alright, so we're going to take this out. What do I want to do for a team? We're just going to do triple Neff, triple Vivian. Trying to remember which Neff is the one that has the crystal on it. It's that one. Okay. One of my Neffs. I don't have enough chisels to upgrade her all the way. It's just for UL. All right. We're going to do this fight. So I'm just going to skip it. And we're just going to slowly we're just going to look at the damage at the girls just specifically. Okay, so we see that this is the normal damage without a Neff mark. So this is usually what happens with the Neff marks. This is the usual damage for Vivians. 9 million to 12 million usually. As fights go longer, if we had fights that lasted longer into 27 rounds, you could see Vivian's pushing 30 million damage. I've seen it. It's pretty crazy. But just remember, and if you have to go back and pause the video and rewind and look at the damage to look at the other damage, it might not be a lot more damage, but it's still going to be more damage with the Vera in there. But you're going to have to look at the girls on your screen right here and look at the damages here and then compare it to the other damages. That's the only reason how you're going to find out Vera is doing anything. And then, of course, you look at the heals. It'll give a little bit extra heals. So the heals, depending on how it goes, it's going to boost the heals of these girls right here from the Lullaby shields. Okay, so now with that being shown, we're going to go back to Luke. We're going to take out this one. We're going to find our Vera. And then we're going to fight. We're going to obviously watch this one because we'll just showcase what she's doing. So we have to wait till the end of round to see the speed swap. Usually there'll be a little yellow, I don't know what you want to call it, little emblem underneath Vera that's going to show you which one she speed swapped with. Izanami shields, it's going to make it hard to tell. So I'm going to try and pinpoint it out for you guys. So round 2 happened. So you look at Vera, it has the shield underneath her, and it's on, I believe, the girl on top. The Vivian, yes. See how she went before the Vivian? See, she's already going down. She's hard sustainability on her. But she should get healed back up because of the Vivian's actives. She swapped with, I can't see. Maybe the girl, oh, this one right here. Because of the shield, it's hard to tell. It's this Neff right here that has the shields on is what she swapped with. So we go to the next round. She's just kept the swap with it. So randomly picked her again. Sometimes it'll pick the same girl every round. Swap. See, it still picked that one. So it's a 50-50 chance at that point because the one died. So it just picked her again. Sometimes that happens. It'll just keep picking the same girl. It's random. It's not permanent. So it should swap with this at the end of the round. It did. It has a speed on there, but I guess it's bugged on that. All right. So now we're going to look at the damage. So we saw the damage here. This one's a lot higher. This one probably had Neff marks at some point. These probably got baptized because of the Vivian. So this got up higher. But we see how the damage here on this Vivian is 17 million. This is 12 million. Remember, these were 9 and 10. This one was our 11 million. This is 6 million more. These are about 1 million higher. This is 3 million higher. This one's lower because of the Neff marks, but that's 1 million more than normal. So we look at Vera down here. She's only at 1 million. That was expected to happen as we get to the heals. Look at those heals, ladies and gentlemen. 29 million. As we saw before, it was like, what? 17 we had going on. This is a lot more. She most likely had the Lullaby shields on, and she was just healing like crazy. Our deer's a little bit lower. She has a little bit of heals on her. This heal is probably low because of the Neff marks, because there's 3 Neffs over here. They didn't get removed from the Vivian, so that's probably low. But it would have been higher if they get removed. So the big thing here is if they didn't have the debuff marks on, the heals are going to be a lot higher. So this is why 29 million heals are here. This is because of the Vera's Lullaby shields, essentially. Now we're going to pick another fight. We're going to pick on... There's no Jonah there. Usually he used to run a Jonah, but Jonah's kind of fallen out. Yeah, why not? Well, let's just pick this fight. Lots of Neffs. Real Neff is really overbearing. So, we don't know which one she's going to pick for speed, but the key thing here to be nice would be if she grabs that speed Neff over there and just swaps with that. That would be great. And she did. Look at that. Just right off the bat. That's awesome, guys. So she's going to be really fast. She probably already... And... Did she speed swapped with this Neff down here? She's going to be slower because she no longer has this speed for that girl. Remember all these shields going up? Oh, we got 5 going on. I've only ever seen 4 usually. 5 is nice. We should be getting some good heals. See, the heals on this one's going to be low because we're just not getting that removal right there. So she's just not getting hit. Oh, she got that removed. That's nice. Only 1 on her now. 10. See, they're just not getting hit by the Neffs to remove those. Alright, so we got 13 million damage there. It's a little bit higher. A little bit higher there. 24 here. It's not much more, but the fight didn't really last that long. The heals. See, look at the heals again. See? 25 million, 12, 11. Nah, remember this one heals were low because she had 10 marks on her of the debuff heal. That's why that's really low. But that's still good for 10 debuff heals. This is also low because of all the debuff. Remember, it's 5 Neffs. That's a lot of debuff marks. 8 million here. So overall, this is some pretty good heals. And the Vera help boosted this, even though we had a lot of Neffs with debuff heal marks at every end of the round. Next up, let's just pick on Justin. Justin always has good teams. All right, so we're focusing on Vera here, so we're just gonna have to wait till the end of the round to get it to be working. Still on the first round. It's taking a minute. Alrighty, so we swap with the Fenrir. Not the best swap in the world, but Fenrir is going to be slower, even though it doesn't really matter what place your Fenrir is going. What did she swap with? Can't really tell. I can't see. I don't think it shows a swap. Maybe there's another bug on her. Interesting. Oh, no. All right, the swap's still lit. All right, we got it right there. Swapped on the Neff. Sometimes it's hard to see it when we got all these Izanami shields on the field. We got 5 lullaby shields up. Again. Dang. She swapped with that. See the swap at the bottom? I know you just saw it for a brief second, but it's there. All right, so we see the damage boost here. So the Vivian's removing the Neff marks, so it's kind of hard to tell which one's using Neff marks. They both are usually. Heals aren't as much, or damage isn't as much. They just kind of died pretty quickly, 5 rounds. If it goes more rounds, you get more damage going on. See, we see a lot of heals again. Like, that's an important thing here, just getting all those heals. Removing Neff debuff marks and just getting heals. That's awesome. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. This is all I got for you guys today on Vera. Overall, she's a decent girl. She's not the best girl in the game per se, but she does help boost in a certain way. You just don't see it right away, but she does help. As far as ranking her on the tier list, I will do that whenever we get new girls and I can test more, and we'll do official list on the tier list. I don't want to speculate here and tell you something otherwise, but overall, she's a solid girl. She's not the best in the game, but she's not the worst. So if you don't have the best girls in the game, but you do have the ability to build a Vera, and you don't, let's say, have the top tier ones, she can still help you out and work. Let's say if you don't have an Izanami, you're just not getting her, but you got 9 copies of Vera, and you need some help with boosting damage and getting some heals back, go ahead and build her and use her for the time being. And if we get a better fairy girl in the future, you can always swap her to somebody else. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have for you today. Thank you for tuning in to today's new video on the new girl Vera. If you have any comments, concerns, or complaints, you can leave it a comment in the YouTube comments of this video, or you can message me on my Discord. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning into this video. I appreciate it as always. Stay safe and have a nice day. Peace out.